It's funny when you look at the journey of those that have been very successful. When I say success, I'm not really talking about anything in particular, being that it's monetary or being that this person has achieved a super amount of high recognition that comes worldwide. What I'm really talking about are the people who have achieved at the highest level in whatever they find or deem most valuable. And what's funny about that is, from the outside looking in, it's easy to classify and look at their life and say that they have it all. The characteristics are spot on. They seem to be motivated even in the worst of times, and they seem to have nothing but a superior network of people who want to see them win. And it seems that there's almost this divinity of, cosmic energy that's just orbits around them, and everything they do touches the gold. Well, what we know, in fact, is that it's actually the counter. You see, those people seem to have those characteristics because they're so fine-tuned, but they're so fine-tuned in what they do because they're so disciplined. And that discipline has been a cultivated result over a series of times of having the shit kicked out of them, and having fallen, having to figure out how to get back up, or looking at a system and figuring out that the only way they're going to find true value in that system is making sure that the system is actually unified and it actually works. And that means that you actually have to put yourself into the system, test it, which is going to require energy and volatility, and probably you're going to have failure after failure after failure. So if we know that this is more of the likelihood of those that are successful and what ends up actually happening, then why is it that these people are so successful? How is it possible that you have people in a position at the highest of levels and whatever it is that they're doing, who are leaders, not just in their industry, but to the world of inspiration, achieve when everything that I just said is basically demotivating? It de-escalates our value, it de-escalates the way that we think, and it becomes this negative descent into darkness and plunder and turmoil. You see, what I learned is that a very long time ago, someone very important to me said, when you care more about getting good at a skill and adding value in whatever way that you deem yourself that valuable asset or that valuable person, you will stop caring so much about what other people think. And that made sense, but the problem is that I didn't understand that that's actually aligned with a bigger thought process, and that thought process is that progress is your goal, not perfection, because I think what we see is the perfection complex. We see a person that has so much going for them and all the right things, and we think that we know ourselves, and so we can evaluate our flaws, we can evaluate our inadequacies, and we can even evaluate all the things that we're limited at. And that's taking a dose of just transparency and humble sauce. But then when we compare ourselves to that other person, when we see them standing on top of a mountain, able to conquer anything that comes at them and almost walking into any circumstance, fearless, as a warrior, as a titan, as a king, as a queen, we become lesser, and it's because we see ourselves as not being that perfect being. And the reality is that that fallacy is something that the unconscious mind uses to keep us low. You see, the issue with most people in life, and I learned this from a very valuable mentor of mine, his name is Les Brown, is that most people aren't where they want to go, and most people aren't successful at the level they want to be, not because they're in a situation or a circumstance where they've shot really high and they've missed because they're not good enough and they're aiming for perfection and missing, but it's because that they recognize that they're not perfect, and instead of settling for progress and moving forward and becoming that individual, they aim low at a comfort level and they hit. So what I think the important message here to take home from all of this is that it is not the pursuit of perfection, because that is a game that you know you cannot win, but it is actually instead the recognition of something like a continuum that you want to move towards, and slowly, incrementally, and daily moving one step after another and after another. And what begins to happen is now you begin to see yourself making progress, and then you become that moment of inspiration. And yes, you do find out that those inadequacies, those insecurities, and those things that are holding you back are limiting, but then you find out a way to tackle those. And instead of running around the fire and worrying about getting burned, you walk in with a strong efficacy and a knowledge, and you're going to be able to walk through that fire no matter how much the burn. You're going to emerge as a victor you're going to emerge as a champion. And when that happens, that's when you're going to start to see things turn around. And you're going to then have the confidence and the efficacy needed to take on those higher pillars, those higher mountaintops. And so, my friends, what I'm telling you is that you need to aim high. And whatever it is you want to do in the early mornings when you're walking, aim high. When you're going through the struggle and you're asking yourself day in and day out, why am I doing this? Continue to aim high. And when you've been knocked down, you're looking up and you're looking at what's comfortable right in front of you or where you have to go back that exceeds where you've already fallen from. Aim high. Because aiming high and missing will still land you among the stars. Don't be a conformist and settle and aim low, because you may just hit and stay there.